Mark P. Otten back with you. All right, this is your introduction to Excel and descriptive statistics in Excel in one video. This is your blank spreadsheet in Excel. Now, some of you guys have probably used Microsoft Word before. You've used Google Sheets, maybe on a Mac, it's called Numbers. So maybe you've worked with some spreadsheets before. This is just a blank, I don't know, looks like graph paper on a computer. And so you got a bunch of space, and there's these cells, these slots where you can type in words, you can type in numbers, and Excel is very flexible. You've got also this, so I'm working on a Mac, by the way. So this might look a little bit different on a PC or on like a tablet. People have different ways of accessing Excel. Those are all pretty much fine. They're all going to get you where you need to go. So it just might look a little bit different than mine. So you can type in text. I'm going to type in text. Let's call this temperature. My first variable is going to be temperature. If I could spell it correctly. There we go. And I'm going to enter in some temperature data from Northridge from the last year. I looked this up earlier. I swear, this was a cold day. This was a hot day. There's a couple of 75s in there, and another cold day, and then there was another hot one. This was like the big one. Okay. So you've got 6 days of Northridge. Obviously, this is going to be stretched out throughout the year. A couple of little things I can show you in Excel as we go along. One thing is you can put the cursor over the side of the column there at the top. You'll get this little arrow, two-way arrow thing, and you can make these bigger or smaller. You can move them around a little bit. The other thing you can do here, I like to center my data. So if you highlight the column, you click on the letter A there, you highlight the column. You can center the stuff. You can also put colors in here. I'm going to make this bold print, and I'll put like a little color to it. So Excel is quite good at giving you design options. So if you like to mess with fonts and stuff, as you'll see with SPSS and R, not as good for this kind of stuff. So it's good for presenting reports too. And I'm gonna hope that you all turn in your homework as an Excel file. So it's good to learn this stuff so you can distinguish problem 1 from problem 2 and all, organize it so that we can read it and it's not all messy. So little tricks on organizing and design stuff. Happy to help you with along the way, class. Okay, but today I'm going to show you some basic, well, I shouldn't say, nothing in statistics should be assumed to be basic. I'm going to show you some introductory descriptive statistics here. Means, standard deviation, stuff like that. All right, so how do we get a mean here? Well, first we need to add up all the values, right? So I'm going to go equals 58 plus 103. Now what just happened? Okay, so let me pause. I hit equals. When you hit equals in Excel, Excel lights up because it's literally there's colors that come up. And it's like, whoa, this person is about to calculate something. If you don't hit equals, then it's not going to detect that, and so it's not going to calculate anything for you. It's just going to display whatever you're typing. So I hit equals, and then I clicked on 58. I didn't type in 58. You could. But I clicked on 58, and what that did is it put A2 down here. This is like the little formula that's now developing. And A2 is column A, row 2. And that happens to be where the 58 is. So if I click on that, it's going to plug it in there automatically. Then I hit a plus for addition. Then I hit A3, or I just clicked on the 103. And then you go plus the next one and so on. In this case, it doesn't really matter if you click on the cell or if you type in A3 or whatever it is, or if you type in the number. Either way, it's going to give you the same stuff. But later on, it might matter. And clicking on the cell and having it go into the formula automatically might be useful. All right, so I'm going to just leave it at this. I added up the 6 numbers. It's going to give me 482, which is the sum, which I will label here. You could also, I mean, again, Excel is flexible. There's multiple ways to get from point A to point B. You could also do this other ways. But let's start with the sum. In order to get the mean, though, you got to divide by how many numbers there are. So I'm going to go equals, hit the sum here, and there's 6 total values, slash 6. Where did that go? Slash 6. The slash stands for division. There's your mean, 80.3. All right. Label that. Now, we can also try to get the mode and the median. Let's do that. For us, we could for the median, to get it manually, you would put the values in order and then take the middle value. In this case, there's 6 total values. So you put them in order and then you take the middle one. Well, let's see what Excel does if you just go equals median, parentheses, highlight. Okay, what am I doing here? Highlighting. All right, so I hit equals to tell Excel again, hey, I'm going to calculate something. Then I'm talking to the computer, but anyway, the median. Then if you type in the word median, it's going to know to calculate the median, but it's the median of what? So then you hit the parentheses to start the of what, and then you go A2 to A7, which I accomplish by just highlighting. You click on the A2 and then you hold the click and you highlight down. Or if you're on an iPad, you're hitting it on the screen and then you're highlighting down. And then you end the parentheses. So what happens is it goes median A2 colon A7, which is like everything from A2 all the way down to A7, including everything in there. If you do that and you hit it, it's going to give you 75, which happens to be the median. So I'm going to put the median in there. And again, to do it manually, you put the values in order from lowest to highest. You pick the middle one. If there's 6 values, it's actually going to be the average of the third and the fourth values, right, in that order. Let's see what happens when you do mode. It's going to be the same thing. Equals MODE, highlight the numbers, and it's also 75. Well, there's 2 75s in there, right? So there's like, what's the most common value? There's 2 75s, so the answer is 75. Now it's not, some students might be like, oh, there's 2 75s, so the mode is 2. I can understand why you'd say that, but there's 2 of them, therefore the most common value is the one that there's 2 of, therefore it's 75. The value itself is the mode and not how many of them, the most common value we have. So median is 75 happens to be the same as the mode. That's not always going to happen, that the mode and the median are the same. All right, let's look at standard deviation real quick. So we need to get some deviations here. So I'm going to call this the deviation column. Hey, look at that. It's in bold print. All right, cool. So the first deviation, and okay, again, Excel can calculate a standard deviation for you automatically. There's a function for it. I say function, there's a little thing you can type, right? Like we did for mode and stuff. We could cheat and get it that way and have Excel just do it for us. But part of the reason that we have you using Excel is because you can show your work. And so if I ask you to show your work to calculate a standard deviation or a variance, this is what I'm talking about. So let's get the deviations here. So for the first one, we're going to go equals, and the first value, I'm going to click on it, 58, minus the mean, which is 80.33. And I'm going to type in the 80.33 as the mean every time, just for consistency, just to keep it simple. All right, so the first deviation is negative 22, because it's 22. 58 is 22 below 80. And then if you do equals, so what did I do? I did equals A2, I clicked on it, minus the mean, which I typed the number. Then you can copy, just did Command C, or you can go to Edit Copy. You copy that cell and you highlight down the column. This is where Excel starts to save you some effort. And it's going to carry that down. So like it's carrying, it's not going to do negative 22 again, because this one now is, it knows, okay, we're going down one row, so it's 103 now, minus 80.33. The 80.33 stays the same each time, but the value changes, and that's what we need to get all the deviations here. So I'm going to center that column like I like to do. But that's your column of deviations, which is the first step to getting the standard deviation and the variance, is to get your deviations. Now, we need to square them. So we need the squared deviations next. That's a long title, so I'm going to move the column a little bit there, center it in advance. All right. For this one, we just need to go and square each of the deviations that we just got. So I'm going to go equals, I'm going to click on the deviation here and go caret 2. Is that what that's called, a caret? It's a little upside down small v. I don't know. The caret 2 is squaring. That's what Excel, that's what we'll program Excel to square each value. All right, so that was negative 22.33 squared. And then if you clicked on that cell and then you did it this way, you can copy and paste down like we just did. So we get these funny looking values for squared deviations. These are some pretty big values, but temperature data, some of the values are pretty high in Northridge. All right, so we get squared deviations. This is still not useful. What do we need next? We need the sum of these. This is going to get us our sum of squares, or sum of squared deviations. Now I just typed in equals sum. That's another way to do it. So what I just did before to get the sum was I actually like hit the value and then did plus, and then hit the value and then did plus, and then hit the value and then did plus. Takes a little longer. Here you can just go equals SUM, multiple ways to get to the same destination here. Equals SUM parentheses, remember the parentheses, and then highlight what you need in the parentheses there. So this is highlighting D2 through D7, that's your squared deviations. And you get 2,527 squared degrees. That's your sum of squares. Still not useful, but we're almost there. Sum of squares. Okay. Let's finish this off. So you get the sum of squares. That's the top part of the fraction for the variance. So we're actually going to get the variance first, standard deviation second. So how do we get the variance? We just take that sum of squares value and divide by n minus 1. I'm typing n minus 1, but I could just type the value of n minus 1 instead. So n is 6, right? That's the total number of values here. So 6 minus 1, I'm just going to type 5 instead. And so this is going to give you the variance. 505 squared degrees. Okay, this is your variance. And then last but not least, your standard deviation, which is the square root of the variance. How do we get that in Excel? I paused for dramatic effect. Equals SQRT parentheses, and you put the variance in there. SQRT is just short for square root. So you go equals SQRT parentheses, hit the variance there, and you get 22.48258615. Standard deviation. Woohoo, we got our descriptive statistics here. You can kind of structure it like this if you're working on your homework and I ask you to calculate a standard deviation or variance. And what this tells us is that the mean value is 80.3, the median 75, a little bit different, got dragged down by a couple of outliers. I'm sorry, the mean got dragged up by a couple of outliers on the high side, the 112. And the standard deviation is 22, so that means that most values are within 22 of the mean, which is 80. Larger sample, these things might change, but that's your introduction. Hope you enjoyed that. As always, if you have questions, let me know.